All right, shalom, shalom to the willful elect of the nation of Israel. Shabbat shalom. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders and the bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us his word in truth and sincerity, and peace and mercy to the willful elect, starting with 144,000. All right, that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth, and the rest of the 1/3 that sincerely believe. Okay, peace and mercy to you and your household. Okay, so in today's class, we're going to get into James, the 5th chapter, and the title is Extortion and Riches. Okay, because that's exactly what this chapter goes into, as well as the patience of the faith, or the patience of the saints, which is through faith and fear of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. But the first 6-7 verses of this chapter is very good on giving us spiritual insight on the rich men of this world, right? Both Israel and not Israel, Edomites, heathens, and our people, and how all the riches that they've used to boast themselves as to be something that they're not, really deifying themselves. When you start with the top wicked elite of Esau, Edom, they've used money as a tool to control the world. And they've gotten riches by deceit, as the scriptures say. And our people are follow suit with the heathens, right? Partaking in their practices and, worshiping mammon over the Most High. And in that day of judgment, man, that's really where their riches, okay, are going to be shown to really be nothing, right? The very dollars and assets that that you were able to acquire with those dollars, and the fame you were able to acquire with all those dollars, with all your money, it's going to come to nothing in the day of the Lord's judgment, right? And this is how we know that, of course, the heathens, but 2/3 of our people, they lack faith. They don't have faith. The Israelites that focus on money, all right, in this truth, don't have any faith. Money's a defense, but it's not a focus of the ministry.
That's right.
Let me get this quick precept to open up with.
Take your time, brother.
And then I know you got something too, Malak.
Take your time,
but
brother.
This is Proverbs 11. Okay, so Proverbs chapter 11, verse 4, and it reads, I got this in the NLT. It says, riches. Okay. It says, riches won't help on the day of judgment, but right living can save you from death. You see? So what's true riches? True riches is that of the eternal, that which is from the inside, which is the spirit. That's how you immense real wealth, because in that day, the Lord is not going to judge you based upon how much money you got, okay? But he's going to judge you on who you are on the inside.
That's right.
Were you building yourself up? Were you building up your character during the time of grace? Or were you focusing on what? Spending money, getting rich, and basically adding a worldly mindset to the truth, to the ministry. Okay? It says, the godly, verse 5, the godly are directed by honesty. The wicked fall beneath their load of sin. Let's skip down to 28. So verse 28, Proverbs 11 and 28, it reads, Trust in your money and down you go. But the godly flourish like leaves in spring. You see?
That's right.
So trust in your money and down you will go. But the godly flourish like leaves in a spring. And that's pretty self-explanatory, man. Why are the godly going to flourish? Why? Because they put their trust They put their faith and their hope in Yahweh Yahweh Shai. And they acted upon that hope. They didn't just believe and sat on their ass, twiddling their fingers and not doing nothing, but they act upon that hope.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it on that.
Wow. Simply put, yeah. I'm going to go real quick to the Lord explained. Beautiful. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the parable, but I'm going to go straight to the point. In regards to the Luke 8 parable of the seed, right? The seed is the word, right, which goes into the riches that's going to get us through. Okay, versus the corrupt riches. But the point is, simply put, where are these riches coming from, right? So let me
Shabbat
read.
Shalom, Mark. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Shalom, Yabashim Yashabakata.
Shalom.
So this is Luke 8 and 13. The point is in the 14th verse in regards to the riches, right? What the elect is set up to receive versus the corrupt riches. So it says, Luke 8 and 13, they on the rock are they which, when they hear, receive the word with joy, and with these have no root, which for a while believe in the time of temptation fall away. You see, so there's a distinction there, simply put. And here's the point in regards to the rock and the true riches, verse 14, Luke 8 and 14. It says, and that which fell among thorns are they which, when they have heard, go forth and are choked with the cares and riches and pleasures of this
There you
life.
go. There you go. Yep, and that's heavy that you read the word choke, because I'm going to get you to read that verse again.
Take your time.
And I'm going to get the word extortion real quick, because it goes hand in hand with the word choked, right? Because the title is extortion and riches, right? So you should know by now. If you don't know, that's how the top wicked elite have gotten their money, through extortion as well. Right. So extortion. That's right. So extortion, right? It says the act of extorting, right? The act of wrestling with anything from a person by force, right? And this devil's force is a sword, right? Now, getting to the point, you read choked out, right? So look what it says here. It says a twisting out, right? So kind of like when you have a towel and it's wet and you rinse it and you twist it of all the water coming out. That's what these top wicked elite, starting with Esau, Edom, and the rest of the heathens that partake, have done to the world and their own people. And the wicked of our people are doing the same thing to their own people, twisting you out for all that you have, right? Filthy lucre's sake. It says wrench out, right? Wrench out. X meaning out, and to core, to twist.
Wow.
So literally being choked out for your money, and what you're receiving in turn isn't the truth. So that's what that's an unjust weight.
That's right.
Go ahead. That's all.
Yeah, verse 14. Read it again. Real quick. It says, and that which fell among thorns are they which, when they have heard, go forth and are choked with the cares and riches and pleasures of this life, and bring no fruit to perfection. Yeah, and these are Yahushai's words, man. So simply put, he explained what Young Miller went into in regards to this lesson already. All right, we're going to go into the different variations of how you get choked out. This lesson. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. You come back to the next verse. But that's the point on that, simply put, man. There's no fruit involved with the cares of this life, but destruction.
Yep.
That's it.
That's right.
I got a quick bit of a Bob question.
God.
This is the book of Matthew 6 and 24. Is the point? No man can serve two masters,
Mhm.
for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You
Mhm.
cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. So, in this truth, people hate the truth because they're rather go and get the money. Yeah, money is a necessity, but in the times that we are right now, you need to know the word. Like with wisdom and knowledge with stability of that times.
Beautiful.
The
Yep.
times they're near when the collapse system is gone in this society. What are you gonna do with the money that you have?
Right. And you know that's based upon a lack of faith. The reason why people come into this truth and try to do both, they try to serve Mammon
God.
and the Most High, is because they truly lack faith in the words that they're learning and the words that are being taught. They don't actually believe that they're going to be taken care of, or if it doesn't happen, they have a so-called escape plan, which is their money. But the joke is on them because you actually can't do both. If you try to do both, you're really only doing one, which is not Yahweh shot, because he doesn't deal with lukewarm.
That's right.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Hey, this is Proverbs 10 and 2.
Mhm.
It says, treasures of wickedness profit nothing,
Mhm.
but righteousness delivereth from death.
That's right.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep.
But you have something before I go into it?
No. What came to mind was earlier when you were speaking about being suppressed, basically choked out, the system pressing the people down, right? Sucking
Mhm.
all their money out, right? Sucking them dry. What the system does, right? Or I
Yeah.
should say these elite. So what came to mind was it's unrighteous how we even get paid. You know,
Yep. Yep.
like job in our day-to-day work
Yep.
that we do, right?
Yep.
Because we're supposed to get paid every day we go out to work.
And
So
you're supposed to get paid real money, man.
that's
You're not
right.
even like right now. They're trading make believe money for your time and your energy. When you really think about it, the real wealth for a business owner or whatever is someone who is really the time and energy of the person that's working for them. And how do you quantify what their time and energy is worth? Based upon gold and silver, riches, right? Resources. But what they're doing is giving you make believe money, and what you're doing is running a rat race for this mammon, for this god, which is money.
Choked out. Wow.
You're being choked out. Exactly.
I got a quick precept just to back up what I was saying about we're supposed to get paid. Every like the day you work, you're supposed to get
Yep.
paid the sun down. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 15. At this day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai, and it be a sin unto thee. So basically, in the same scripture here, it's a little bit further up. Basically, when you work, you're supposed to get paid by sundown.
Yep. To get
When the
paid
sun
that day.
goes down, when you hire somebody, you're supposed to get paid by the sundown because he's poor. You understand? He's a poor, like we're poor already, So you're
Yeah.
supposed to give him something that he can go back to his family with to take care of his household. And that's why I was just saying, like,
It's not
in the
about
system,
him
they
being
don't give
poor, it's
you
just a
enough.
law. It's just
That's
a
right,
law.
law. That's right. So in this society, they don't even give you enough when you're working for
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just
wages.
daily. Hey,
The wages
Khan.
is back.
Hey, just daily wages, man. Simply
Just
put, you're
daily
supposed to
wages.
get paid. You're supposed to get
That's
paid
it.
that day, whether you're rich or broke.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
All right. So James chapter 5 verse 1, it reads, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you."
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny enough, I went into that word rust. I'll leave it to you, at those of you at home, to go into it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But that word rust basically goes back down to the word ruddy, red.
Mm.
Okay, so showing you when it comes to the deceitfulness of wages, that goes back to the red man, which is the so-called white man, Esau, Edom.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is going to be traced back to him. So it
Corrosion.
says, yeah, corrosion. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire.
Wow.
Yet ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Now, I'm gonna get this precept. I'm pretty sure that's Kanawak who's on the comment board. Shalom, Aki, Abashim, Shabbat.
Shalom.
Shalom,
Yabashim
Canada.
Yashabakata.
Yahweh Shema Shabrakatah.
I got this precept, which is a part of what he brought out here, Job 20 and 15. And I'm going to read it down to verse 21.
Mhm.
So, Job 20 and 15, and it reads, "He has swallowed down riches and shall vomit them up again.
Mhm.
Yahweh Bashim Yashai shall cast them out of his belly." Right? So, all the wealth that the top wicked elite have immense throughout the four corners of the earth, and they've stored up for themselves in their bunkers. It's all going to be left to the elect, starting with the 144,000 ultimately, okay? And the earth itself.
Mhm.
And it says, "He shall suck the poison of asps, the viper's tongue shall slay him." So basically his own money, and you lower level rich people, okay? This man's money is going to be a trap onto you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like poison and venom is when you get bit. And who's the serpent? Esau, Edom.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
the scriptures say, "Who pities a charmer who's bit by a snake, who bit by a
That's
serpent?"
right.
Right? And our people, you've been charmed and you've been bit by that serpent, man. So in that day, right, when all hell breaks loose, you're gonna find that the wealth that you glorified yourself in is gonna be nothing but poison and a viper's tongue to you. Okay, so it's a trap.
Like the people that just lost trillions on the stock market.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Rust.
Yep.
Wow.
401k is all gone.
Gone.
Exactly.
Verse 17, it says, he shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. Right. So you're not going to see that, that perfect home that you plan to get 10 years from now, or start your business that you plan to start 10 years from now. Okay. And ultimately, the top wicked elite, the world that they think that they're going to rise up out of the ashes into to control, they're not going to see that either. It says, verse 18, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. So this man was given the whole world, right? So the restitution is give that world back to the proper owners. Okay, ownership of that world. Verse 19, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he buildeth not.
Mm-hmm.
Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly.
Mhm.
He shall not save of that which he desired. You see? So what you're seeing, if you can understand spiritually, is that the common theme with money and the money of this world is that it's temporal. Okay, it promises you. It will promise you a certain future that's really what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? That's um that's not 100% for lack of better terms. Because all of it is temporal. Real riches is the kingdom of heaven, and this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
That's right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it on that.
Beautiful.
Hey, this is just real quick. This is
Yep. Go ahead.
Isaiah 13 and 17. It says,
Beautiful.
"Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it."
Hmm.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's beautiful because eventually these nations, right now, these nations are basically bowing down, all right, to Trump concerning these tariffs,
Mhm.
right? Because they don't want to lose money. Because America, I think, goes for about 1/3 of the world's GDP. One
Mhm.
third of the world's GDP. So every $33 in circulation throughout the world, $1 of it is being consumed by Americans, some American out there. So right now, Trump doing all these tariffs is causing these nations to be like, all right, we kind of have to bow down and do what he says for now. But eventually, they're not going to give a shit about tariffs. They're not going to give a shit about what they lose or what they don't lose.
Mm.
All these nations are going to get together and be, you know what? Enough is enough. Let's stomp out this whore.
Hmm.
Because that's what he's doing. He's
Um,
tightening and loosening the market, tightening
mhm.
and loosening the market, and the only ones that are really benefited from it are him and his cronies.
Mm-hmm.
I got quick percent once you're done. About percent.
Con, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the book of Micah, 6, and I start verse 10. And it reads, "What should I say about an NLT? What should I say about homes of the wicked filled with treasures gained by cheating? What about the disgusting practice of measuring out grain with dishonest measures?" Verse
Hmm.
11, "How can I tolerate your merchants who use dishonest scales and weight?" And here's the point. Verse 12, "The rich among you have become wealthy," going into the topic,
Mm-hmm.
"through extortion and violence.
Mm.
Your citizens are so used to lying that their
Hmm.
tongues can no longer tell the truth."
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yep.
Because you brought
Because
out the word, so like
go
you
ahead.
brought out the word extortion and break it down. So pretty much, Isa, it, it, he likes to store people. He
Yeah,
likes to use people.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
At his own convenience.
yep. It all comes out of greed, right? Because that's really where it stems from. He can't have enough.
That's right.
So when
Yep.
you get past having enough, you have to resort to wicked schemes and
Totally.
deceitfulness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally.
Hmm.
Um, that's it on that arc.
Yeah, that was it. What?
Con. I got this real quick. Psalm 17 and 12. It says,
Hmm.
like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as it were a young lion lurking in secret places.
Mm-hmm.
Arise, O Lord Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, right? Which is the top wicked elites of Esau Edom. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 14, from men which are thy hand, O Lord Yahweh. And that's the thing. The Most High set these guys up, these devils up, to rule the earth, okay, for a short time. All right, to bring upon evil so that he could bring destruction and judgment upon them. Okay. It says, from men of this world, which have their portion in this life. Okay, that's these rich men.
Mm-hmm.
And whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasures. You see?
Mm-hmm.
And you go into the amount of wealth that the international elite have, that international bankers have, man. It's out of this world. Well, the scriptures say they have the whole world, so let that circle in your mind, man. They control trade, global trade,
Yes.
global trafficking of all kinds.
Yeah.
They are full of children and leave the rest of their subsistence to their babes. You know,
Yeah, they fulfilled the prophecy of the blessing, their blessing.
right?
The sword.
That's right. Yep. Verse 15, it says, "As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness," which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay.
True riches. Yep.
Yep. "I shall be satisfied." You see, and that's the true gain, is being able to be content with what you got.
That's right.
Right? Because when you don't know how to be content with what you got, then your environment is going to control you over you having control over your environment. Okay. "When I awake with thy likeness."
I got a precept.
Yep, go ahead, Al.
This is Proverbs. I'm gonna start at 28 verse 20.
Oh,
Says
Slaki. And I should say, Slaki, just to correct myself, because we actually can't control our environment, but before the environment overtakes you. And that's going to be the difference, because that's where everybody's going to take the MOTB.
Yep.
Go ahead.
It says, "A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. To have respect of persons is not good, for a piece of bread that man will transgress."
True. Yeah, and you know why? You know why that if you haste in making money, why evidently you'll go off, is because when you actually make money the right way, it takes time. Right? Things have to grow from the earth. You can't just manufacture dollars that have nothing back, no back into it, at the behest of your call. Right? Esau. That's why Esau deals with fiat currency instead of actual gold and silver when it comes to global markets and world currency, because gold, you can't print gold over and over again. You have to go out, you have to mine it, you have to, clean it off. There's labor done to it. Grain and fruits of the earth. Now he's printing it. He's printing the shit. That's why he's printing it. That's why he's printing lab-grown meats, because he doesn't want to wait for the earth to produce the substance. So he's recreating life, Slaki. He's recreating life and the order of life in his image, which is artificial.
That's right.
Remember, he doesn't give the land the time to rest. Remember, the land's supposed to rest, have 7 years to rest. He doesn't follow the law. Let me read verse 22. It says, "He that hastes to be rich has an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him." That was it.
Beautiful.
And Esau uses that against the people, that mindset, because all those TV shows that you see, like Squid Games, Esau knows that it's a dog eat dog world, but he set it up that way. So people, you do have to be mindful of people, because guess what? In the time of Jacob's trouble, your own neighbor is going to be trying to kill you. Your own neighbor is going to be trying to rob you. But Esau set it up that way as well.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah. That's his job. I got a quick one, right? Because you went into, simply put, that wickedness in regards to rich man. So I'm going to bring it closer to home. And that precept that was just read, and the comments that were made was perfect. This is Jeremiah 5 and 26. I'm going to read to 28 real quick. I'm going to read from the NLT. It says, "Among my people are wicked men who lie in wait for victims like a hunter riding in a blind. They continually set traps to catch people." So yes, crept in unawares, right? We mark you guys, man. Okay, and we watch your doctrines. That's the first thing, and how you move. You wicked men. Verse 27. It says,
hey, Salaki, that the trap. It says that they lie in wait to trap, their own people. That trap is the doctrine they use, because the Bible can be used as a snare, and it can be used as something to liberate you too. It can trap you and it can liberate you.
Beautiful.
That's a dangerousness of the Bible. It's left and right. It covers both sides. But if you have a wicked teacher who isn't mindful of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, doesn't fear Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, they're going to be teaching you the breakdowns in the Bible according to their belly, according to their mindset, to the flesh, and that's a trap onto you. Because what are you doing? You're paying tithes to this person. You know, you're leaning your whole salvation and the salvation of your house upon what this person teaching, and you're spending bread for it. That's why Isaiah 51:55 tells you what. Why do you spend money for that which is not bread? Which is these breakdowns, man. The understanding of the Bible that you pay for, you know, from these false teachers, it's not bread. It's not sustenance.
That's right. Straight. Jeremiah 5:27. It says, like a cage filled with birds, their homes are filled with evil plots. And now they are great and rich. See? So, hey, you guys, man, that's what you use, right? You twist the scriptures, man. We know this. Okay. Here's the point. Jeremiah 5:28. They are fat and sleek, right? SLEEK, sleek. And there is no limit to their wicked deeds. Hey, and that's why we're watching these guys like Nate. Hey, we're watching your pattern. You know, we watch your pattern, man. And Pegasus, we watch you. Right? And even closer to home, we watch, we mark in spirit and in truth. And it says they refuse to provide justice to orphans and deny the rights of the poor. Okay? So simply put, when you go into that word, deny the rights of the poor, hey, that's the doctrine, actually. The doctrines you guys change. Right?
Yeah.
Because the true rights is going into those riches, the Lord's riches and honor and power be unto our Savior, man.
Yeah. Yeah, this knowledge, right? Because you're an Israelite. So you have the right to know that you're an Israelite. You have the right to, like, Howard, you were going to that video about that one guy. What's his name from that TV channel? Whatever his name
Ringo.
is. Ringo. And then you brought out the law. And you went into, I never saw it that way, but you went into how the book of the law. You can't, the word you use is
self-determination.
Right. So, yes, you know, like you said, self-determination. People have the right to determine themselves.
Except for black people. We're the only people we've never done it before.
Exactly. That's right.
We just accepted what people told us that we are.
Exactly.
And now that we're doing it, now everybody has a problem, but it's actually illegal to stop somebody from claiming whatever they want.
Exactly. And according to the book of the law, it's illegal to teach an Israelite that he's not an Israelite.
Exactly.
You know, and they're doing that to make money out of you, to twist you of all your money, ring you through with all your money. Con. Heavy judgment, man. This is a book. That's the thing our people forget is that this book, because it's full of allegories and metaphors, they think it's just a storybook. This is the law book. This is
like
a law.
You said last time, it's like rabbit hole. Like you go down, but they don't know how to come out.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That was it in that, Malak?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Simply put, the word sleek just means smooth, right? In that context, or they're being smooth and slick, right? I have it here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, just slick, and we know who you are, man. We watch you slick dudes. Anyway, that's it.
So James 5:4, it says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud," right? Because remember, you're trading your time, your energy, and your time to build this man's kingdom, which is what we did, right? It was the curses, but that's what we did, and they held back. While holding back daily wages is fraud in it of itself. And then you add on top of that the wages aren't even real money.
That's right.
Cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Mashai of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton.
Mhm.
Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter.
Mhm.
Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you. Because how could he?
Yeah.
You're the one in power.
Yes.
You're the one in power. Let me get this here just to show you that, as we always say, reincarnation is a biblical concept. And if you can't wrap your head around reincarnation, you're never going to understand the Bible completely. So this happened before. Nothing new under the sun. This is Exodus chapter 2. And I'm going to start at 23 and read down to 25. Get in the NLT. Okay, so Exodus chapter 20, or Exodus 2 and 23. And it reads, in NLT, years passed and the king of Egypt died. But the Israelites continue to groan under their burden of slavery, just like today. But now, instead of it being the whole nation of Israel, really the only ones that are really crying, all right, is the elect.
That's right.
Read, what's that? Proverbs 1, chapter 1, right? Wisdom crieth out in the streets, in the chief concourse.
That's right.
They cried out for help, and their cry rose up to Yahweh, Bashim El Shai. Yahweh Bashim El Shai heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He looked down on the people of Israel and knew it was time to act. You see? So all these events, all these tariff wars, which are happening between companies or countries, which really they are companies, right? All of this is going to lead to a climax situation where the Lord is going to intervene.
Well, he has to because of the MOTB, because the elites are going to push the elect and the 1/3 to such a point that the Lord is going to have to deliver them, because there won't be nowhere else for us to go.
That's right. Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
The elect are going to have to be delivered out of the hellhole.
Yeah, that's
scarcely be saved.
That's right.
Con. This is Exodus chapter 22, verse 22, and it reads, and this is the law concerning how we should deal among one another, showing you that, we highlight Esau, Edom, and the heathens, but our own people, man, they have partaken in the practice of extorting, okay, extortation.
And the scripture the scripture that you just read about Egypt, we don't even know exactly what type of hell they were putting on us, but it had to be so bad that the Lord said, "Nah,
no."
That's crazy." And our people want to go back to Africa.
That's beautiful.
You got to be destroyed, though. That's why they got to go.
Yeah, that's why that just happened to Nate.
Con. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready, I have the word ear, right? What it symbolizes, because that's powerful. What was just said, and also what was just read, in regards to that the Lord is listening, and He's not happy. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, bring it up quick.
Yeah, real quick. It says the ear, the belief that itching or burning ears means someone is talking about you. See, is mentioned. So the point is, those prayers and those things, and right, both sides, righteousness and wickedness, and the Lord is itching, and He's, as brother said, He's going to have to do something, and we cry about that all the time, about this place and getting out of here, and the Lord knows. But what I'm saying is, simply put, the Lord is hearing, and He's not happy about it.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is about to break it down.
That's it.
It's going to break it down what you said, anyways. Exodus 22 and 22, it says,
Go ahead.
you must not exploit a widow or an orphan,
Come.
right? If you exploit them in any way and they cry out to me, then I will certainly hear their cry. Now, this is our law,
See?
and this is how we are to conduct ourselves among one another as Israelites. But
Mm-hmm.
this devil has taken the book of the law and said now that the land, all right, America, Canada, all the Americas are governed by the Bible.
Yes.
So he's taken the Bible into his hands and saying that he's the lawyer. This is the law of the land.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's guilty of this too.
Mm-hmm. See?
My anger will blaze against you,
Ooh.
and I will kill you with the sword. So
That's right.
the Most High doesn't fuck around with unjust waste when it comes to money, because
That's right.
he knows that's how you get your bread. That's how you live. That's how you survive. That's how you take care of your family. So it's a wicked thing to mess with that.
Yeah. Well, his biggest game we just saw, which is the stock market. But that happens like every 10 years, right? It's known as boom and then bust. You
Right.
have bubbles, you have different stock market bubbles, and they
Right.
always burst, whether it's the housing bubble or the internet bubble or
Right.
the what is it? The cryptocurrency bubble.
Right.
There's always a new bubble. It's just how they steal money from the people.
That's right.
Hey, that's beautiful, because that's exactly what these tariffs were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these tariffs, and in terms of, because what all these tariffs did is that they ramped up liquidation.
That's it.
Right? And when you go look up liquidation, it's basically the process of taking money, what you have as money, all right, and seeing how fast it can be put into an asset.
That's right.
Be made an asset. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what you saw is that tanking of the stock market. And what happened is all the billionaires got rich.
Yes.
Trump is in the office talking about this person. He just made 32 billion today.
Yes.
This person made 900 billion today. This person made da.
Exactly.
Right. So like you said, man, these devils, what they do is they manipulate any kind of market in whatever market, just so that they can get rich.
That's right.
It's actually transferring of wealth. They transfer the wealth.
Mm-hmm. Con. Let me get a quick precept back you up. This is Proverbs 11 verse 1. A false balance is an abomination unto Yahweh Shem Shai.
That's right.
But a just weight is his delight.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's right. That's beautiful. Because real quick, I just want to say this, because I'm holding the word abomination, but I'm not going to read it. But that's all these tariffs are, man. Anyway, that's the point.
So this is Exodus 22 and 24. My anger will blaze against you, and I will kill you with the sword.
Wow.
Then your wives will be widows, and your children fatherless. And this is to you false teachers among Israel that focus on your wealth rather than teaching the truth. This is what's going to happen to you. If you lend money to any of my people who are in need, do not charge interest as a money lender would.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah.
And this is a practice that our people have partaken in and have done with one another. And this is why Yahushua flipped the tables in the temple. This is why he got pissed off, because that money lending scheme of actually I'm gonna get a precept actually. Slack it. It better explain.
Well, we all have bank accounts, right? If you have a bank account, they do that to you unless you have some banks it's 10,000, some banks 8,000. If you have 10,000, sometimes they won't charge you, but they charge you for transactions, or they charge you by the month, or whatever the case may be, right?
Con. That's right.
Deuteronomy.
No, go ahead.
With the credit card, is
monopoly,
because he give you a credit, and the interest rate is 25, 35. That's a ridiculous number, you know?
Yes.
So when do you get to pay that?
Yeah.
Con.
Wow.
Okay, let me get this. This is Amos.
Mm-hmm.
I read this precept. I heard this precept, and I was like, God damn! Right in the NLT, this is good. Amos 8:5 in the NLT. So it reads, "Ooh, let me start at damn. Let me start at 4. So Amos 8:4 in NLT, it says, "Listen to this, you who rob the poor and trample down the needy. You can't wait for the Sabbath day to be over and the religious festivals to end, so you can get back to cheating the helpless." Right? And it says, you measure out, showing you that we're not innocent too as Israelites, man. We partook in money laundering and everything Esau is doing. The international bankers, everything they're doing, they learned it from ancient times.
Yeah, we created it.
We created it. Exactly. Yeah, we created it. That's right. That's right. You measure out grain with dishonest measures. You cheat the buyer with dishonest scales.
Yeah, coin clipping.
Coin clipping. Yep. That's right.
Up and down.
Yep.
No, they just put a lesser metal into a higher metal. So for gold, they'll put a lesser metal in the gold. So then when you weigh the gold, you think the gold is the right amount.
Yeah.
Right.
They put a lesser metal in it to trick you.
That's right. Like copper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They mix it.
Yep. Well, it tells you here. Look what this is what they were doing. This is what you call deflation. Okay. It says Amos 8:6, and you mix the grain you sell. Come on now. You mix the grain you sell with chaff swept from the floor.
Like when you buy a bag of chips and half of it is just air.
Exactly.
So they do that here as well.
Exactly. Yep.
And they charge you more money.
But they still charge.
Yeah. And what our people were doing here was the equivalent to taking, if you got Coke and then you mix it with baby powder.
Exactly.
So they both look white. That's what they were doing with the grain. Right?
Yeah,
you have the grain and they're mixing the grain with the chaff, which is the leftovers when you beat the grain on the threshing floor.
Useless.
So it says, but that's how you make money. You see, that's why the scriptures say what? The scriptures say, hardly, roughly paraphrasing, hardly should a man offend when it comes to buying and selling. It's hard not to offend because, hey, you want to make money, but there's right ways to make money, right? There's a just way to make it. So it says,
an honest sale.
Yeah, an honest sale. And you mix the grain you sell with chaff swept from the floor. Then you enslave poor people for one piece of silver or a pair of sandals.
Yep.
Now,
because what they'll do too, let's say you're poor and you don't have the money, so you'll come and you'll borrow, but then he'll say, okay, I'll give you this bag of rice, but you owe me this much.
Yeah.
So he'll charge you more. He'll tax you just on something just because you don't have the money at that time.
That's right. That's right.
I got a quick precept to back you up with the usury.
Hold on. Oh no, actually that's it on that.
Just going back into our law, like what we said, we created it, right? Like we said before. This is Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 19. Thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother. Usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury, unto strangers thou mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon usury. That the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, thy power, may bless thee in all that thou settest thy hand to in the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Right, so, and this is what the small has to do. Right, the small has to do that to us and everybody else, right? Because they're considering themselves to be the people. But what the whole joke is that you're a no people.
That's right.
You're Esau Edom, so you're still in violation of this law because you're a heathen trying to tax a royal people when it's the other way. You can't do that. So
Exactly.
you're in violation of that law.
Yeah.
When
know
have you
what
ever
those small,
heard the servant slacking? When have you ever heard the servant taxing the royalty?
No. You'll
You
die
don't
for
hear
that.
it. Exactly.
no. And what those small hatters do, they basically you're allowed to fly to Jerusalem for free. Once you can prove that you're Jewish, you're allowed to hop on a plane and get a free flight to go to Jerusalem if you're Jewish. They all give to each other without like they don't do usury to each other, but to
As they
everybody
should.
outside,
Yeah, as they should.
everybody
Yeah,
outside, they tax them. They
yeah.
that yeah, you know
Which it wouldn't be wrong if you were the people. That's the point,
Yeah,
right? But
exactly.
yeah
you are
Yeah.
heathens
yeah.
playing as the people doing
That's right.
doing that. So you're
Doing the
all the
work.
way
Yeah,
off.
that's right.
Mhm.
Because we're gonna be, best believe, we're gonna be taxing the hell out of you people, man.
Yeah.
You
Yep,
heathens, man.
yep.
Okay, you're
And
gonna
we're gonna
be
be
in
living good.
rigorous slavery.
Sorry, Salakia. We're gonna be
No,
living
no, you
good.
good. Yep,
We're all gonna be living good amongst each other, man.
Mm-hmm.
yep. So this is James 5:7 says, "Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord Yahweh Shai. Um, Behold, the husbandman waiteth for this precious fruit of the earth," right? That's the elect,
That's
"and
right.
hath long patience for it, until he receiveth the early and the latter rain."
Ooh.
Mhm.
Right? So it says, "Be ye also patient, establish your hearts," right? Which means you got to constantly remind yourself of the mission, of the purpose,
Mm-hmm.
while we're down here, in this hellhole.
Yeah,
Okay?
mentally stable. Stabilize your
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
mind.
That's right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Mentally stabilize yourself, because this world, Esau's kingdom, will take you left, right, and center everywhere.
Yep.
Mhm.
It says, "For the coming of the Lord Yahweh, or of the Lord Yahweh Shai, draweth nigh." Right? Now we know the early and the latter rain pertains to the harvest, right, in spring, and the harvest near winter,
Mhm.
right? So basically, spiritually, when you go in, actually, let me just get it right here. The commentary. Where'd it go? Right. So, um, damn, where'd it go? Okay, well, anyways, I mean, I won't get the commentary, but basically that's spiritual, man, because that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the Heavenly Father, all right, to send down His Son Yahweh Shai to receive the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
right, to receive His kingdom being established on earth, and that's
Mhm.
that latter rain. You see, the early rain started when? Started when 2000 plus years ago, when He came here on earth, right, and He fulfilled His sacrifice, right, as a sacrificial lamb. When you read Revelation, the 4th chapter, it talks about His coronation in the heavens and the glory that He was given.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Huge,
That was
huge.
a big deal, man.
Yeah, that's really when hope started.
Oh
Is
yeah.
when he was up there being coronated. And now we can actually do this. We can actually do this thing.
Yeah, he finally defeated death,
Exactly.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That hope was there finally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Finally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
finally. Because
Yeah.
the Yahweh turned his back on us, right? But
Exactly.
finally we had hope.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
If you
yeah,
have,
you
I
got
just want to grab something real quick.
yeah, Con.
This is Proverbs 22:7. It says, "The rich ruleth over the poor, and the
Mm,
borrower is servant to the lender."
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Mhm.
Con.
Yeah.
Which is why we can't keep each other in oppression. Like I can't lend
Mhm.
to my brother on usury because
Mhm.
that's gonna put him in a bad position. If he
Con.
needs it, he just needs it.
Mhm.
Con. Exactly.
Fact.
Exactly. And it's beautiful among us, because what that causes us to do is to apply faith. And even the scriptures tell you that if you help a brother out financially and he doesn't get back to you in terms of paying you back, it tells you to leave it to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord will get you back. So basically, you're leaving. Basically, the Lord is taking that brother's tab.
Yep.
You know. Okay, so James 5:8 says, "Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord Yahushua draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another." And this is basically what you just said, Howard.
Yep.
Brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. And that means your mind. Don't hold grudges towards another brother in this ministry, man. Because what you do when you do that is you actually end up condemning yourself in everything you think, say, or do. All because you're holding a grudge towards another brother. That's why Yahushua said, "What when you come to bring a gift to the altar, put the gift away and make sure you settled anything you have against another brother, because if you don't settle that quorum or whatever's going on between you two, that gift is none and void. Yahushua isn't going to accept it. So imagine going through this ministry, you holding a grudge on a brother for a year or two or whatnot, and you've been putting all this work in until you've forgiven that brother. That work hasn't been acknowledged.
That's right.
That's why you have to be like a child. Children forgive quickly, man.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, very true. Verse 10, it says, James 5:10, "Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord Yahushua, Yahweh, for an example of suffering afflictions and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Yea, or ye have heard of the patience of Job." And that's funny because guess what Job was? He was a rich man. So that's very funny. He was a rich man in righteousness, and he still caught a bunch of hell to test his integrity. And what did the Lord do? He gave him double than what he had in the beginning.
That's right, double portion.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That means true riches is the character, the inner man. It isn't what you have. It isn't the substance that you wield, all right, or the sway over people that you have. Like this one Jake on a podcast was saying, "Oh, when I met Pegasus for the first time, man, he's stoic. He's this, he's that. It's like meeting Jesus." Which, hey, good. Because Jesus is nothing but an idol. Right? That's going back to Satan. So all you're doing is saying that in the spirit that this man is Satan. You were beguiled by Satan.
Exactly. And it's the time of separation. We're separating ourselves from you guys, and you guys, we're starting to see how you people are really not spiritual. You don't have that oil upon you, because really you're beguiled by men. You're supposed to be transformed by the truth, not by men.
That's right.
None of us are. We're not even in our righteous bodies yet, man. Why would you care about me right now? I'm this. What you see now is gonna disappear, man.
That's right. That's right. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord. Have seen the end of the Lord Yahushua, that the Lord Yahweh is very pitiful and of tender mercy. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by earth, neither by any other oath. Right. So also don't sell your soul, which is what our people have done. Right. They've sold their soul to Esau Edom, and they're gonna solidify that oath by an MOTB chip in them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. And that's such good advice, because you can't go wrong when you can understand something in the matters of yes or no, left and right, or you can answer things in that matter. Because when you really think about it, when you can't do that, the scriptures say put a hand over your mouth, right? Because what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to come up with the answer on spot, which is a con artist. That's what you see our people, the wicked of our people. They're good con artists. They come up with breakdowns of the scriptures on spot. You know, could they catch you in the mood and everything like that? You know,
Yeah,
so
that's
they're
what that guy
yeah.
did. Damn, he got arrested. Oh man.
Oh yeah, the pastor with the 40, he locked people in the church.
Yeah.
Yeah. He locked people in the church. He said you're not getting out of the church unless you give us we need 40,000 in donations.
40,000 in donation. Yeah, that guy's a gangster.
$20 from everybody.
How do you think you're gonna get away with that? But he must have thought he had his people stupefied, and they probably were up until that moment.
But the joke is, that's what I'm saying. That's why, really and truly, all you people, you're 2/3. You have to be destroyed because everything that you're doing it in unrighteousness because you're watching true prophets struggle, go through torture, just like our Savior. It's okay. We're gonna go through it. We understand we have to go through it, right? The Lord Yahweh Shai bear this cross. We got to bear ours as well. But
Absolutely.
when they get to the kingdom, they're gonna be like, damn, I uplifted these degenerates and I watched true men of the Lord suffer. You're gonna feel like shit, man. Because they actually came up with the money just then and there. So just to show you, our people have money to burn, man.
I seen one with one woman basically saying how she has to give about how much thousand, about a couple thousand, like to the church
Oh
every
yeah,
time now. She has to pay more money, $250 every time
yeah,
she
come
comes
on.
to church, and then they're doing tap now with the phone.
Yeah, con, yeah.
Every tap now. They don't. They used to come with the offering and come around. Now they use the phone and tap. So you have to tap with a certain
So
percent
they're
of
gonna
money.
get the MOTB.
That's all that means. That's all that
Yeah,
means. Yeah,
bad, bro.
that's crazy. Tap in the churches, eh?
Yeah, your tap.
Okay, so verse 13 it says, "Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai." So, we basically have everything that we need, within the brotherhood, within the ministry. We don't have to go and outsource ourselves to Esau Edom and this wicked society. Obviously, we got to do what we got to do to get around
Yeah,
in this man's kingdom. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, just like you, right? Like you know about the body, you know about health, but there's brothers that know about tinctures and things like that, So there's brothers that know a lot of good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Verse 15 it says, "And the prayer of the faith shall save the sick, and the Lord Yahweh shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Confess your faults one to another, right? And pray one for another."
Hey, that's why I was drawn to GMS. I was drawn to GMS because brothers kept it real, right? We never shunned our shortcomings. We kept it real. These other guys, their shortcomings, they get exposed. They pretend to be holy and higher than thou. We never do that. We don't do that over here. We tell you people that, yo, listen, it's not easy. We sin. We fall short. We tell you people all of that. We tell you how to deliver yourself from that. But these guys, they're all being exposed for their sins, and you still accept them even though they lied straight to your face, man.
Con. Yeah.
They got the chokehold on them.
And well, the scriptures say what?
Wow.
Their conscience is seared with a hot iron.
With a
Man.
hot iron. Yeah.
Fuck,
Wow.
crazy. 16 it says, confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. You see?
Beautiful.
So really, hey man, we're really rich because we have a brotherhood, man, on
Yeah.
top of what we do spiritually. If you go to a brother or to the camp, whatever camp you belong to, depending on wherever you are, and you ask for prayers, though, hey, if you have a camp of 50 deep, that's 50 deep, sincere men that fear the Lord. You think he's not going to hear their prayers if they're praying for you?
Yeah, con. Or you might go to a brother and a brother knows exactly what you're going through. And then the fact that he went through that, now you feel comforted.
Con. Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
That's right.
Verse 17, it says,
Because
Elias.
remember, nobody knows what we're going through. So when you talk to people outside of this, you don't align with them. So then you forget about the brotherhood. And then you go to the brotherhood like, oh yeah, I have to go to the brotherhood. Because your girl don't get it, your mama don't get it, your children don't get it. Nobody outside of this gets it.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Yep.
1,000%.
Yep.
Elias was a man, verse 17. Elias was a man subject to like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain. And it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months, man. That's heavy, man. That's heavy because, basically the men of the Lord, they're going to have great power, with the Heavenly Father and His Son in the day of trouble. They're going to be able to pray for things, and it's going to happen just right there and then. Some of them are going to have spiritual powers to deal with whatever scenario they got going on. All manners of miracles are going to happen. But this is also important because it shows you that you can't know the name of the Lord alone, but you have to have power with the Heavenly Father and His Son.
Proof in the Spirit.
Right? Exactly. Proof in the Spirit. And what is that? That's your works. What have you done? What were you doing? And what are you doing? So verse 18, it says, because a lot of you are going to call upon the name of the Lord, thinking that you can sneak by, right? But the Most High and His Son are not going to hear you because you have no power with them. What have you been doing? Jacob wrestled an angel. That's why the Lord said, guess what? You are a prince that has power with the Most High. So verse 18, it says, and he prayed again, and the heavens gave rain. You see? And the earth brought forth her fruit. So the elect are going to be taken care of, man.
That's right.
They're going to be taken care of. The true riches is the gifts that are given to us of the Spirit. Prayer, fasting, faith, fear, understanding, insight. Verse 19. Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, and one converteth him, let him know that he which converteth the sinner from error of his way shall save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins. Wow. Because what is that? That's charity and that's alms when you do that.
That's what these videos are.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're washing our hands.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. The just balance from the Lord. Yeah.
This is our charity. They want to know, what's GMS doing? GMS, you guys ain't outside. You ain't cleaning up the community. This is how we clean up the community.
This is the love. This is the love right here. We're giving them our love, man. This is Yahweh Shimei Shai showing love and mercy, right?
For free.
Through the prophet's mouthpiece, man. Through the prophet's mouthpiece.
Hey, that's the point, because extortion and riches for free. We're not extorting you.
That's right.
We're not exploiting you. We're not saying that, hey, because imagine you know, we tell you that we could be marriage counselors, right? We can counsel your relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you give us,
Kevin Samuels.
The
hey,
money.
you know what I'm saying? But how do you think
Yeah.
he made that money? He
True.
made the money because he knew all your insides. He knew everything you were going through. So he knew what to tell you to make money.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think I know that? Because I'm a trainer.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing, man. We don't go on and tell you, listen, you got to tell us everything that's going on. You got to get a woman that believes in the truth for you to be in this thing. You know, we're not exploiting you. We're telling you the truth, okay? And this is how you're supposed to navigate in this wicked kingdom, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Plain simple.
That's it, man. Let me get some precepts here from the comment board.
Okay.
Go ahead. You got something. I know you want to bring it out. Go ahead.
This is just going back into the topic about riches, and this is First Timothy chapter 6. I don't know if it came out earlier, but First Timothy chapter 6 verse 9. It says, "But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition." Perdition,
Yep. Hey, because the love of money is if not the top drug, most addictive drug out there.
It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll start off by, okay, I'll only do this to get rich. Then it's the next thing. Then it's the next thing. Then it's the next thing. And all of a sudden, you've gone so far, you can't go back. So you have to keep going. Because then what is what you did? What is life? What's the meaning of it? So you have to create meaning through your wicked works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're coming out with a new movie. I don't know if it's a movie or a show where this rich Edomite guy, he loses all his money, and because he knows all these rich people, he's starting to steal from his rich friends just to not lose his appeal. And that's the hard part about money, is when you lose it, but like just that whole appeal of people knowing that you're gonna lose it now.
Con. It's a shame that
It's
you
a
don't want to
shame.
bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that we had to bear.
Yeah, con.
We had to lose everything.
That's right. And I was just gonna say that because it shows you the duality of it, because the shame in trusting in riches, you can't come back from that. Right,
No.
but the shame in trust, because the things you'll do to get those riches, you can't come back. You have to go.
Oh man,
you can't come back from that. So
you never heard the Meek Mill video?
Yo,
that was a terrible sound, man. It's a terrible sound, bro. Terrible
it took me about
sound.
3 weeks to get that out.
Yeah, terrible, bro.
But the shame that the elect are going to go through for trusting Yahweh Shai, there's a comeback for that. There's residuals for that, man.
Oh, I gotta get this for you.
Remember, I'm gonna finish this one. But remember that guy Terrence, when he was talking in his interview, he's saying some of them they do everything right.
Oh yeah.
But then there's no happiness with the money now. Yeah, you're mashed up. There's no happiness again.
But you can't go back. That's the thing.
Yeah, you can't go back.
You can't go back.
Will Smith just said that in his latest interview with the drink champs.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Verse 10, it says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which will some coveted after they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows."
Yeah, you did too much shit you can't come back from.
No.
That's right. "But thou, O man of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, flee these things and follow after righteousness."
Right.
Godliness,
you're gonna be put. It's like it. You're gonna be put in scenarios where the Lord is gonna try you. You're gonna be put around rich people. You're gonna be put around opportunities that can change your situation overnight. Okay, but you have to apply faith, and you have to apply the fear of the Lord.
That's right.
You see, because that same situation is going to be presented to the whole world via the time of testing.
Mhm.
You've been going through hell for a month. Babies can't eat. Women, mothers eating their children, and then all of a sudden you get a MOTB that's gonna fix all of the hell you've been going through for the last month or two in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. His
Mhm.
artificial version of it.
Let me let me
Go
continue. It
ahead.
said, but thou, O man of Yahweh Bashim Shai, flee these things and follow after righteousness,
Yep.
godliness, faith, and love, patience, and meekness. Fight the good fight of faith and lay hold on eternal life,
Mhm.
whereunto thou art also called and has professed a good profession before many witnesses.
Come,
And that was
Seems-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
come. Let me pull this up here. This is from the elder bro
On a
Kanawak. This
walk.
is
Mhm.
Sirach 10 and 8.
Yeah.
Beware, it says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Okay, and
Yep.
we're the other people that is going to be translated to. Lord willing,
That's
we're of the elect.
Right.
kingdom.
This is from the elder GMS history of Yaikwab Shalom. Yahweh Shem Shabrakatah.
Shalom,
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yabashim Yashai Barakatah.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Joshua 10 and 12 NLT. On the day of the Lord Yahweh gave the Israelites victory over the Amorites, Joshua prayed to the Lord Yahweh in front of all the people of Israel. He said, let the sun stand still over Gibeon, and that was a
And
heavy
keep
day.
going.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it says Gibeon and the moon over the valley of Ayajalon.
Mhm.
And it says, and it did not set as on a normal day.
Yeah.
Yo, so the elect, starting with the prophets, okay, they're gonna have power with Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. Hence
That's right.
why they are rightly surnamed Yasha Allah. Yasha Allah starts with Yahweh Shai and the elect. Those are the ones that actually demonstrated that they have power with the Most High. Hence why
That's
they
right.
would be called princes of the power.
Mhm.
How the
Yep.
hell do you pray for the sun and the moon to chill out and it just chills out for
Stand
you?
still. Yep.
Hey, we
Obviously,
Mhm.
yep.
no, go ahead.
I would say obviously you have power with the power that's in control of those things.
That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna say we already do. We just have to believe. We're just not
Yeah,
on that level yet, man. But we already do, man. Because you have to
true,
remember, brothers are
true, true,
now
true.
brothers are now connecting with the Rakah Quadash. And then when you connect with the Rakah Quadash, you're connecting with Yahushai, right?
Mhm.
Once you're connecting, you're interconnecting with that spiritual realm. Things can happen, man. You have
Con,
Mhm. Right.
guardian angels around you.
Mhm.
There's serious things going
Oh,
on
spirit.
in the
Yep.
spirit, especially when you are righteous, when you're clean. Like today is a
Mhm.
beautiful time because it's the Sabbath. If you
yeah,
keep the Sabbath holy, the spirit's going to work with you. There are certain days the spirit works with you heavy because you're clean. Obviously,
con,
we know the days where
Mhm.
you have sex or you release seed, you're unclean. Spirit's not
Mhm.
going
con.
to work with you heavy those days because the spirit is not going to really
Yeah,
descend
it's
upon you.
pure.
You're
Yeah,
unclean, right?
Yep.
yeah,
So days
yeah.
like today, there's
True,
power.
true,
There's power, man. We
Mhm.
just don't
true.
understand it yet because we're in these filthy this body, man.
Con,
Yes.
con. That's a
Mhm.
fact. And that
Definitely.
makes sense, man. That's why the spirit. That's why those of you that fear the Lord, you're always having a voice in your head that's telling you to chase righteousness.
That's right.
Because
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
more you chase it, the more the spirit can work with you. That's why you have that voice in your head.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a good point. Yep. Let me read this last one. I know, Malak, you have something too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll read
because you
this
had
last
brought
one
it
here.
up. I'm holding that as well as something else. Go ahead. You.
So
Yep.
Joshua 10 and
All good,
14
man. Take your
NLT,
time.
it says, there has never been a day like this one before or since when the Lord Yahweh answered such a prayer. Surely the Lord Yahweh fought for Israel that day.
which is
That's
what we were
right.
talking about. We were talking about the prayers of the men of the Lord, and it's just like
That's right.
that's how powerful they
Beautiful.
are, right? And remember,
Yep.
brothers are all praying for the destruction of this place. So,
That's right.
do we really want to be a part of this society? Like when the elders say, "Yo, don't really go out too much. Don't do this, don't do that." It's for a reason because look what just happened at the nightclub.
Mhm.
Khan.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
What happened?
Yep.
He got shot up.
No, no, got destroyed, man.
Oh,
Got destroyed, man.
when it collapsed and killed that guy.
Yeah, yeah,
You see
yeah.
when it
Yeah.
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 Collapsed and killed a football player, I think, or a
A
baseball player or
baseball
something like
player.
that. Yeah, a baseball player.
And all those people were warned.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not going in there like nilly willy. They were warned, but
Mhm.
they went where they're not supposed to go. Anyway,
It's
Yeah.
not the time. Well, they said, what's
Go
that
ahead, Malak.
scripture? Allah gonna come eating and drinking and
Mm-hmm.
giving up in the last days, right? They're not
Yep.
aware. They're partying all their life away, right? So they're not.
And they don't want to be aware. That's the thing. They don't want to be.
that's
That's
They
right.
they don't want to come to the truth because, and this is why this ministry is so dangerous and it's so perfect and it's so like you can't put a price on it because
beautiful.
you have people at this point what's going on, right from wrong, wickedness, but you don't want to reject it and
That's
you don't want to confess your wickedness because you don't have hope in your mind. You know what drove us to be honest about our wickedness coming to this ministry? It's because in our minds there was already sealed hope, which is
Yeah,
that gift
there's
of
hope.
faith.
That's right.
Yeah, there's hope, man.
Yep.
For some reason we know for what reason, the Lord's reason, but we heard this word and we're like, okay, yeah, this is where I can breathe. This is where I can unravel. This is where I can be naked and get cleaned up.
Hey,
Instantly.
that's why we tell you women we're better women than you women because we are so committed to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Even if he rejects us, we're still chasing after him.
After him, yeah.
That's right.
We're not gonna be with anybody else.
Nobody can fool us again.
That's how
There's no
faithful we are. That's how faithful we are. Even if he
no bullet.
rejects us, we still want him.
That's right.
That's
Wow. Hey, for those of you sisters out there that are sincere, what the elder just said is very important for you to take in. Because if that's us as men, how much more you as a woman to a man of the Lord?
Oh, man of the Lord.
Right.
If you're not with a man of the Lord now, know that when things get to the position they get to, the Lord's going to put you with one. And that is going to be your test because that man of the Lord is going to know the Lord. And if you were faking it, you're going to get kicked out of the house.
Oh man.
He ain't dealing with you.
Yep.
Huh.
Or
Huh.
if you traveled 10 miles to get to his house, he's going to open the door and be like, I never knew you. I don't know
Shame
you.
shall cover her.
You know what I mean? So just remember, the men of the Lord, like the elder said, we know how to be women better than you because we have to do it even when we're rejected. The Lord sometimes takes the spirit off of us for a week or a day just to see what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Khan.
Yep.
Go ahead, Malak.
Yeah. So you had brought up the term the harvest, or excuse me, the early and latter rain. So I have the precept. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I just wanted to refer it for those at home. So
Right.
Joel 22 and 23 speaks about the early and latter rain, and the precept for the early rain that goes back to the Feast of Harvest or the Feast of Weeks is basically a demonstration of the power of the Holy Spirit working. Right, and then the latter rain, which we're in that time right now, and young elder just mentioned that point. Right, it's reserved for the elect, starting with the first fruits. Right, but I'm going to read the precept real quick, just to verify what I just said, and I'm going to read it from the NLT, Joel 2 and 23, real quick. It says, "Rejoice, you people of Jerusalem, rejoice in the Lord your power, for the rain He sends demonstrates His faithfulness." Right? So the just shall live by his faith.
God.
Once more, the autumn rain.
Slack it, because that's spiritual too, because how's that playing out? The Lord's faithfulness is the fact that he left a remnant to know the truth.
That's right.
So if he didn't leave it remnant, like in Isaiah 1 and 7, we would have been on to Sodom and Gomorrah. So we'd have been completely destroyed. So the Lord is showing his faithfulness by leaving a remnant to know the truth. And that
That's
remnant
right.
is calling upon the Savior, which is Yahweh Shai.
That's right. True riches. True
So
riches.
that's that rain. That's that rain, which is the knowledge. It's only being left because in both of those harvests, what would you give up to the Lord as an offering? You would give up the first of your fruits.
Yeah.
So the first and latter rain, the harvesting that Yahweh Shai is going to do is of the elect, the first fruits.
That's
Yeah,
right.
the best.
The best. That's
Best.
right.
Nothing but the best. Continuing on, verse 23 of Joel 2, it says, once more the autumn rains will come. Once more, right? That's a lot of rain, as well as the rains of spring. See that? Here's the point in regards to the riches of the latter rain that is reserved for the elect, starting with his first fruit. Here's the point, Joel 2 and 24. The threshing floors will again be piled high with grain, and presses with overflow of new wine and olive oil. I'm reading from the NLT, right? Again, going back into the pure truth, unadulterated truth, right? Okay, that's what's preserved in regards to the latter rain. And I just would like to go to, we read it all the time, but I'm going to read it from the NLT today. Isaiah 33 and 6, but I'm going to start at the 5th verse because Brother Howard's second precept went into judgment and righteousness in regards to the true riches. It says, Isaiah 33 and 5, the Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high, and he had filled Zion with judgment, you see, and righteousness. Hey, so that's what this is about, man.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, you guys over there, you keep doing your stuff, Pegasus and the rest of you, man. You guys are crazy, right? And then it says, here's the point. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to be reading it from the NLT.
And really, they're not crazy. They're just exposed. That's it. The Lord is doing what he said he would do. We're living in the time of revelation, right?
That's right. That's right. Right. Yeah, verse 6.
On that?
No, verse 6 in the NLT of Isaiah 33. It says, in the day he will be your sure foundation, providing a rich store of salvation.
Yeah.
Wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah, which is multiple scenarios, right? A rich store of salvation is saving up a bunch of money in your bank account for rainy days. More than one. Because we're gonna be in multiple straits, dire straits up until that time of testing. So you need salvation in each moment. This situation, that situation, that situation, all the way up into the MOTB. Lord willing, you don't take it if you're of the elect, right? And then boom, the immense collaboration of it all is you getting beamed up, and then you're having your body changed.
That's right.
Yeah, in the twinkling of an eye.
Yeah.
Right. So it says real quick in the Isaiah 33 and 6 in the NLT, it says, in that day he will be your sure foundation, proving a rich store of salvation, wisdom and knowledge. The fear of the Lord will be your treasure.
That's it.
That's it.
Beautiful. All right. So with that, we're going to close up. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. All right. We're going to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh.
Hashem,
Double honors to the apostles and the elders and the bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us this word in truth and sincerity. And peace and mercy to the hopeful elect. All right. Starting with the 144,000. That's pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth, and the rest of the 1/3 that believe. All right, sincerely believe. Peace and mercy to you and your household. Abal, Kwame Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
That's right.